Hello guys, and it's time again for another tier list video. And in this ranking video, we will be ranking all 3 ways of the Booster Course Pass. This is a continuation of my previous series where I ranked all the tracks in every Mario Kart game, every version of that track. I went game by game, but I didn't do the Booster Course Pass because it wasn't complete, and obviously it still isn't. But since we're halfway through, I know this is the first year of the DLC done. I figured I can split this up. It'll make it a lot easier. I split it up by year 1 and year 2. So next year will come if I can do waves 4, 5, and 6 probably. After anything like these 3 waves, they're pretty good. So I used the tiers that are the same as the ones I had used for my ranking of the non-DLC tracks, like in the main series. I did, but I've removed 3 of the tiers, right? Because we've got best tracks, great tracks, solid tracks. Then you got meh tracks, bad tracks, and worst tracks. And the bottom 3 don't apply at all to these tracks. And when I'm ranking this, it is up against that this series. So check that out if you want a rough idea of what my takes are on that. I looked at it last night, and I think I already disagree with it, and I'll probably disagree with this immediately. So yeah, there's only 3 tiers, you know. So and like the thing is, with my old tiers, I only had like 2 tracks in the meh tier, and I don't think any of the Boost Course Pass tracks deserve meh tier. There's a lot of really strong ones, and it has the best in the franchise, I think. And I don't know if that's recency bias or what, but I love technology. So what I did last night was I set a versus race up to 24 races. I just did each of them and then thought about I was going to rank this. So I've organized the waves, you know, and luckily, actually, it's done it in rows of 4. So we're looking at each cup here. So we'll start in order. I believe the first cup of wave 1 is the Golden Dash Cup. And I'll get this out of the way now. Wave 1 is really fucking good. It's... And I think it needs more credit because, you know, we're looking at the Booster Course Pass reviews now, and I keep seeing so many people saying, "Oh, the waves keep getting better and better," and like, "Oh, compare this to Wave 1, this is so much better." There isn't a quality change. Like in some aspects, yes, but to race on these tracks, they are just as good, and there's some really stellar picks here. I don't have a favorite of the waves because I think they're all the best. I really think they all have really strong tracks. So yeah, I'm not going to be shitting on anything really in this DLC. There's like 3 tracks that are kind of but I think they've got some things on that save them. So yeah, we'll start with Paris Promenade. We'll go in order, like I said. And this is a very solid Tour City track. Now, obviously, this is the first track we got that is a city track, so that was exciting and all that. And all the city tracks from Tour that we've had, we get 1 for each cup, and next year we're gonna have like 2 more as well at like ends of cups for waves 4 and 5. At least going by the current money, which is subject to change coming off of wave 3. However, I'm pretty sure they're not going to bother changing the order of the Tour City tracks because there's no point to it. However, they're very unique. Like personally, I'm not that fussed about the theming. I'd I'm much more interested in stuff that's actually in the Mario universe. And I pointed out last week when I was looking at some of the DLC tracks in it because they do like crossover tracks, right? And you've got the Animal Crossing track, which is probably my favorite album, just because it has the changing seasons. Hyrule Circuit, which is and then the F-Zero tracks, which are fun to race on, but they don't interest me thematically. And I think these, with the theming, they are much better because there's so much attention to detail in terms of making references to like the actual city, obviously, and trying to be semi-accurate. Obviously, it's still cartoony and Mario-y, but yeah, it's very cool in that regard. So yeah, I will give it that. But whenever they have a way reveal, I'm not like I'm usually excited for like just regular retro tracks, right? I'm usually not going crazy about the city tracks. They're kind of like an obligatory inclusion, and again, I don't think that's a bad thing. I just mean I'm less hyped about them, even though they are all really solid, and they're basically automatically going to be solid because of the introduction of the red arrows between laps, and they will shift places, which will make you have to change routes between the laps, which is really cool and it's incredibly unique. And it makes them feel like massive tracks with so much going on. Paris probably uses it the least, as it doesn't change until lap 3, and lap 3 you just go backwards. You take a turn to the right and then a glider, and that leads to going in reverse, which is still really cool. But yeah, that's a more minor use of the feature. But the track itself is really solid. You know, there's some really good sections, some good turns. You got a nice alternate route going on. And there's this really awesome shortcut in the middle of the roundabout where if you use a mushroom, you can just zoom through. So yeah, it's pretty good, pretty solid. I could be changing it because I don't know what I'm going off of for these tracks at the moment because this is my first one. I don't know what I'd rank them by. I guess I could check my other list. But yeah, I think this is like a high solid, maybe a low grade. Because yeah, it is just solid. It is just a very solid track and a good introduction to the new arrow system. Yeah, it's good. It is good. Next we got Toad Circuit. Now, this is probably the least popular track in the Boost Course Pass. Maybe in the entire game, which I disagree with. I think Toad Circuit on its own is one of the best circuit tracks in the game. This alongside Double Dash's Luigi and Yoshi circuit. I think this goes right alongside those as the best. Those are the top 3 for me. But yeah, I can't justify why they chose this track. With the belief of the current data mine being that there's no 3DS tracks in year 2, which I think surely has to be false because I think Nintendo are smarter than that, but I really don't know because there has been a lot of 3DS representation in the base tracks, so maybe they've just lowered the amount for the Boost Course Pass, even though there's a lot of Mario Kart 7 remakes in Tour, so I feel like that'd be a missed opportunity. But yeah, I don't know. What I do know is I think looking at that and like how many Mario Kart 7 tracks they could have pulled from, I cannot justify the decision to pick this track. I like it. I just think that's an unwise choice, if they wanted a pretty simple track, because I get wanting to start a DLC off with like a circuit, you could just put Mario Circuit 3 in at the start. And then for like wave 2, you have like Daisy Hills, or you can just have Daisy Hills for this wave. I don't think it matters if you have a circuit or not. You don't need a circuit. No one's clamoring for a circuit track. But yeah, I think Daisy Hills in particular would just be a very good alternative for that pretty simple, chill track, but it has a lot going on. Whereas Toy Circuit is like 4 turns. That's the thing, because the circuit track, it is quite limited. I like the glide ramp it has in the middle, and I do like the turns. I really like time trying this one. I like all the shortcuts you can do. Like I really think this is a solid track. And again, one of the best circuits. But again, at the end of the day, it is a circuit track. It's not... It's going to be near the bottom. So it's going a low solid here. But I do think it's an underappreciated track, because I do think racing on it's very fun. I like that the road's wide enough that you can just snake between stuff. Like time trialing is very fun. And yeah, I think it has enough going on with like the off-road stuff. That is a good track. I just don't know why they chose it, you know. But again, its existence doesn't annoy me. I think it's a good track. It's a faithful recreation from the Mario Kart 7 version. It's identical to it, which is fine. It's a good, simple track, and simple because it's a circuit track. That is just the way it is. Next we got Chuck and Mountain, and we have got a banger here. So it feels like a lot of this DLC. You know, you got like 3 tracks here, like for the Mario Kart DS fans, very hype, very hype. To get like representation of the DS Nitro that has never returned, and having some of these retro tracks that are in DS and haven't had another chance to come back. Very hype. It is it's so insane. 8 months ago, you know, like before that Nintendo Direct, no one would have thought there's going to be any more 8 Deluxe content, and then we just get done with this, and yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. We start off with some banging tracks here. So Choco Mountain is great. I think this is our first example of a perfect remake, because they don't really remove anything, but at the same time they change a lot. They expand on it greatly, particularly the little cave tunnel thing. It was just like a very short tunnel before that was pretty irrelevant, but the most notable like mark of the track, you know. But now it's a full-on cave, and it has a shortcut, and you got like all these mining stuff, and then it ends with a glider that goes across like the bridge that's not broken, and then you land down, and then you do the turn while the big boulders are falling down. You do that, and then there's a big shortcut opportunity before like all the trickable ramps that end in the finish line. Really good, really fantastic. I think it's a very clever remake. I think it plays really well. It looks really good. So I hadn't even mentioned graphics. So graphically, I have no issue with the graphics. I think I prefer this art style to 8 Deluxe's, like the base game tracks, because I thought they were a bit too they're not bad obviously, but I prefer this more simplistic, you know, cartoonish look. I think it fits Mario and Mario Kart better, and I'm totally fine with reusing tour assets if it means we get 48 new tracks. Like how many people complain about it so much. People seem to have stopped, for the most part. You still have people like with Wave 3, people complain about Rock Mountain for some reason, because apparently it looks bad. And I guess it's just because people don't like the grass texture. which in Wave 1, the grass doesn't really have a texture. It's just kind of a solid colour. On Toad Circuit is, which probably didn't contribute to it probably did contribute to why people don't like it, but I don't care. I don't care. Like in later tracks, there's some really good looking ones, and in Wave 1 there are some good ones already. I don't think the quality of the graphics shifted that much, because I think Chocolate Mountain looks fantastic. So yeah, I think it's a high grade tier, and it could be in the best. I'm not sure yet. We'll see, but it's definitely the best we got so far. And next is Coconut Mall, absolute classic. The Boosters Pass, you got all the love for like the DS stuff, and then obviously the introduction of tour tracks. Like that's already hype, but the obviously sliding Coconut Mall is that fan favorite Wii track. Like our track, which they've been doing for the waves now. They literally got rid of Waluigi Stadium from Wave 3 so they could move Maple Treeway a year, so they could have an iconic Wii track representing a wave. And there's presumably like going to be 2 in one wave, though, because Maple Treeway is going to be Wave 6, and Wave 6 ends. Like, the Boosters Pass ends with a Wii track. It's probably Wii Rainbow Road mid-pick, honestly, but I digress. Coconut Mall. What can I say about Coconut Mall? It's just a great track. It deserves to be in the best. This remake is faithful to it. It like overhauls its like the mall's design and makes it more colourful and stuff. The excavators are now just like these arrow things. But from a gameplay perspective, I think that's better because it's much more visible. And design-wise, yeah, it makes less sense. Do I care though? No. People were crying about it. So no, I find it funny. Another thing people were crying about was no moving cars. It's just Shy Guys in cars and they just kind of sit there. I never liked the cars. Like say it's a skill issue you want or whatever. I don't think they were that good because they were broken in the sense that if you try to go one side and he blocks you, like you would basically be stuck there, and I don't think that's how it was supposed to work. Like the cars going back and forth, just kind of goofy. I didn't like how they. I get this is the Mario Kart Wii Pro in general. I hate how they would slap me faces on everything. So I'm glad they're not doing that for the Wii remakes, because Mii's are hideous. They are gross looking motherfuckers. So yeah, I think overall it's the best it's looked, and it's the best it's played. It's basically the same as the Mario Kart 7 version, where you have the glider on the top, which basically makes the bottom path completely pointless. I never go around it, but that's fine. That's okay. It doesn't really matter. And I love how the glider in this can just kind of cut across like a corner. I think that's really cool. I don't know if you could do that in Mario Kart 7, but it's really fun in this. And also in the update where Wave 2 was added, they update Coconut Mall to make the cars move. They don't move like they used to. They instead spin donuts around every couple of moments, which I much prefer. I think that's a much better usage of it, and it's much less broken. So yeah, I think it's still amongst the best. I don't think they massacre this track or anything. Also, the music fucking slaps. Like all the remixes in this are just bangers. It'll be redundant if I keep saying how good they all are, but they are so good. So yeah, that was the Golden Dash Cup. Already off to a strong start, even though Toad Circuit exists. So we got Tokyo Blur here in the Lucky Cat Cup to start things off. Now, me personally, and I'm pretty sure basically everyone agrees on this, it's the weakest city track. However, if this didn't have the changing, the track changing between laps feature, this would be a meh tier. But it does change between laps, and thus makes it a very standout track. Sure, I like all the other C tracks, and I'll probably will like all the rest that come next year more than this, but it's solid. I think it's just got generally a good like good vibe. Obviously, I like the wide roads and stuff. I don't think the theming's that fantastic either for this one. Admittedly, I think it looks good. I like the bridge you start with and you end each lap with. That's cool. I like the roads being very wide. You do some very nice drifting, and there's a good shortcut at one bit. And I do like how each lap is slightly different. They do change the road you go through, which again helps this track a lot, because otherwise it would just feel like a circuit track, and a bad one at that, if it was just one of the versions, really. Maybe they could have had some vehicles going around. Albeit there's a lot of tracks now that have that. The next one ranking has that, so I guess that's why they didn't do it. They do have Womps, or Thwomps, sorry. Yeah, Thwomps. I get the two muddled up. Thanks for naming them that, Nintendo. But yeah, they're just chilling in the road for some reason. So you could tell they were kind of reaching to try and add some stuff to spice things up. But I still think it's solid to drive on. And again, it has the uniqueness of the changing laps, which does save it, really. So I'll put it above Toad Circuit, because I do think it has more going on from that. But yeah, this is all low solid. But yeah, next is Shroom Ridge. And get that shit right up there. What a great track. You know, no, we're moving it above Coconut Mall. What a fucking banger. Best remix in the franchise, alongside the Wario Stadium remix, in my opinion. Like, what an absolute bop. And you gotta bring vehicles, and it's really cool because they reused the Toad's Turnpike ones. That's what they've been doing for ones with vehicles, now on the road with you, which is great because you have like the skateboard ones and you can trick off them. They do have the glider ramp ones, which makes sense because that wouldn't make sense for this track. But this track does have a glider ramp on the big open field section of the track. There's now a glider, which just makes it a much better shortcut. It's really cool. Which you land at the tunnel bit. And like the track layout and stuff, completely faithful, but they do add that little glider ramp, which helps a lot. And also the item box placement is phenomenal. And then you've also got this extra shortcut where you drive off the cliff, and then there's like this pipe that blows there. You trick off that and then you land on the other side. What a good shortcut! Chef's kiss, absolute banger. It's in the best, just so good. And this, like, if this had come out in like a later wave, and like it hadn't been in the game yet, and we speculated on it, I would not have even imagined Shroom Ridge coming to the game. What a good surprise twist. It's not even in Tour. It's still not in Tour. It's an absolutely wild pick, and I love it. I think another DS track we picked is pretty wild, and again, I think it's a good pick. Anyway, in Wave 3, we'll get to that. But yeah, next is Sky Garden, and this is another controversial one. It's controversial because the layout is pretty much completely changed on the original Sky Gardens. Also, it doesn't have like the same shortcuts. They just completely overhauled this track. But guess what, motherfucker? It needed an overhaul. I did not want this to be some like it's Sky Gardens. It shouldn't be this flat track. It has the like this version has like the puffy 3D clouds that you can like boost off of, and mushrooms. You can't like trick off them or anything, and but like you can do some pretty wild stuff with them because they give you such a nice boost, and they just look much better. Then you have the like there's still shortcuts for like the leaves and the, you know, there's just some off-road bits you can cut through. Like there's still shortcut potential, especially on the last bit where you go up. I feel like that could have been an anti-gravity section. Doesn't really matter. It's weird because Wave doesn't have anti-gravity. Wave 3 every time you've kind of got like anti-gravity finally like properly incorporated normally. Like Wave 2 is Sky High Sunday, but that's just completely anti-gravity and it's pretty crazy. We'll get to that. But it's a take it or leave it thing. And this track didn't need it. But yeah, that's just a thought. Yeah, the sugar way you go under that, like, archway thing, and then you end with a glider. Very cool. I think it's a great track. I really do. I think it's overhated. I think it continues to follow the theme of having phenomenal GBA remakes, which this game has just become known for with Cheeseland. Cheeseland's another controversial one because it changes so much. These changes make them so much more than just a 2D Mario Kart remake. They feel like up there with the best, you know. So yeah, fuck you. This is a great track. I think the road looks good as well. I'm glad I didn't do the stone one that's in Tour. It just looks great. So yeah, Cry About It, I think is a great track. And these two right here, I could absolutely put them in the best tier, you know. But I might be more saving with the best tracks. I'll figure it out. Like this tier list is more just an excuse for me to talk about how good these tracks are. And next we got a best track, Ninja Hideaway. Yes, it's in the best. It's kind of broken. Like the Lucky respawns were kind of scuffed. I think they've patched that since, but it's more fun than anything problematic. But yeah, it's such a wild track. It is so crazy. So it's an absolute standout. It's definitely the best of the tour unique in-universe tracks so far out of the three we have. Yeah, it's so phenomenal. There's so many different paths and stuff. You can go upstairs, you can go downstairs. There's like different shortcuts. Like the one where you go through those like cutouts in that like hidden hole in the wall, really cool. I think that is such an overpowered shortcut though, that even if you don't have a mushroom to break or any item to break the cost, you don't need a mushroom, you don't need a boost for it. You just need someone to break the cost of something that's already broken by someone else. I think that's kind of OP. I don't think it's enough to damage the track though. But it does add to the chaoticness of it all. Then last bit again, you could be on the roof, or you could be you're on the roof, but there's like different levels to it. So there's just so much going on. And the theming is great. A Shy Guy dojo, like that's just fucking dope. Then you've got like one of the wildest shortcuts in the game, which I believe is only possible on 200cc because of how far you're using yourself off to. But if you're on the upper level, you can just yeet yourself off the entire track, and you could just completely skip a corner and then just barely land on the edge of the bottom bit next to the finish line, which is still an upper bit by the finish line to the left that has a glider which helps you get to the rooftop, which is another different section. It is an insane track. I'd probably put it over Coconut Mall. Shrimmage, I think, is just so phenomenal, but I don't know if it has enough going on for you to justify having it above Ninja Hideaway. But I do love these tracks, and I do think I play Shrimmage the most. So, we'll leave it like that for now, I think. But yeah, that's wave one. A really good wave, I think. So yeah, moving on to wave two. And what cups are in this again? Oh yes, the turnip cup. Yes, I remember. The turnip cup is quite a strong cup, maybe the weakest in the Boost Pro Pass so far, but it does have some absolute bangers. One in particular, by New York Mini. This is a pretty strong city track. I like the theming of it all. The lighting's very good. It's just very cool. As the one at each lap, it does change like what path you go through, so it does use that changing lap mechanic very well. And it's pretty wild on the last lap where you go through that car park area and there's like a spiral you go through. That's always chaos and it's very fun. There's a lot like off-road bits and there's some alternate routes with like some stuff like you can just go through this shorter path, or you can take a long one and you can get this glider and you can land on this bus and get a double box. So yeah, pretty insane track. Yeah, I like it. I do like it. I don't know. I feel like Paris in terms of just like on its own. I think Paris is. I think I do prefer that, but I do think New York Minute like is more of a standout track because it does use the changing laps more. I don't know. I don't know. I think this should go in great. Yeah. I don't know. Or maybe I swap it with Paris. I'm not sure. I think leave it like that for now. Again, we can look at it later. Manx's Marriage Circuit 3. This is the weakest one. The pass is going straight at the bottom. But it's still solid, right? So firstly, I think it's fine that this is a pick. Obviously, like SNES Mario Circuit, boring as fuck in terms of like a theme. Least interesting thing you got. However, there's 96 tracks in this game. I'm totally fine with one of those 96 tracks being like the classic Mario Circuit. That's totally fine. That totally makes sense. Especially when this is a retro track DLC thing. It makes sense to represent such an iconic track. And they chose a good variant. They chose 3. They didn't choose 1 or 2. Thank you. Thank you very much. 3 is a very good layout. And this variant doesn't really add anything. It has some oil spills that you can slip on, but you still like the same shortcut as the Wii version of it. It's probably the only reason why it was chosen, because it was made in Wii, and the Wii nerds love it. So yeah, but I like it too. I do like it. There's also this random dash panel on the final straightaway, which I don't really understand, but it's kind of fun because everyone's like contesting for that one tiny dash panel. I don't know why it's there, but sure. Overall, it looks cool. I think the remix is very subtle, but that's again fine. I get wanting to maintain that retro feel. So again, I think it's a pretty harmless inclusion, but it is just Mario. It is just SNES Mario Circuit. You know, by default, it's going to be the weakest one we've got here. But I do think it's weirdly a standout track in its simplicity. Because, to my knowledge, this is the only track in the entire game that is just completely flat. They didn't add any ramps or anything. It's just completely flat. And again, that does contribute to why it's at the bottom. However, I think that's good that they were so faithful to making a retro-feeling version of this, that it becomes a standout track. Because none of the other SNES remakes feel like that, necessarily. Donut Plains 3 sure doesn't. Now that's an absolute banger to race on. And we still got one more SES track in Wave 5, I believe, which is going to be Vanilla Lake. Not what I would choose personally, but I think that'll be a fun one. And I do think the tour version have done a lot of changes, make it interesting. So yeah, looking forward to that. Next is Kalimari Desert. And I've always loved this track from like Mario Kart 7, even though like people would consider it overrated until this DLC, because the train is like the most iconic part and it's basically irrelevant in previous versions, you know. But this incorporates the train by having lap 2 making you go on their tracks. So this is the first of currently 2 regular mainline entry retro tracks that do what the Tour City tracks do, where the laps do change the course. So yeah, you go for the first lap, it's like normal. Then the second lap, like one of those like trick tour like barrier things, just those ramps just show up out of nowhere. On lap 2, like if you're on lap 1, like I tested this, you will just see them like float on this thing because the ramp hasn't spawned in for you yet. Very odd. I feel like there's no real point of including that ramp. I don't quite get it, but it's harmless. And yeah, the arrows for this one to direct you are blue, and I thought that was to distinguish that for as what the arrows will be for the mainline retro tracks and the tour retro tracks. But now that I think about it, the Peach Gardens remake just used the red arrows. So I have no clue why Calamari does it, uses blue arrows, or why it includes one of the trickable ramps from Tour. I don't know what's up with that, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. What that ramp does lead you to, though, is landing on the tracks, where you then drive through the tunnel that the train goes through. Entering the tunnel activates lap 3, so you come out the tunnel. And yeah, it's just crazy because the train does show up, so you gotta be very careful. The tunnel is chaos, even though it's quite short. And then you come on out, you can take 2 like paths. You can keep going along the track, or you can go through. And there's like a couple good, there's a couple glider shortcuts at different points on the track. From Mario Kart 7, which is cool. And there's just a lot of off-road in general, so there's a lot of shortcut potential. Like, this is just a perfect remake again. So I'm chucking it up. I'm putting it very high. I'm gonna put it next to True Ridge because again I think they are like the perfect remakes. Right here, I'll chuck them out as a perfect remake too. Though. This is hard. This is so hard to do. I think Skygon's a perfect remake as well. I don't fucking care about so. But like, this is just really good. Any criticism Calamari hasn't had before, this fixes. So, yeah, it's in the best somewhere. Again, I'm trying to order these tiers, but it's quite hard to have that be accurate because I don't know. Like in terms of my very favorite, I'm not even quite sure on that. Yeah, next is Waluigi Pinball. It's besides the looks, where they just make it a lot more vibrant and neon-esque, which is cool. I like it. Really good looking track. But besides that, the gameplay, it plays the exact same as it does in the previous versions. Well, in the 7 version, because like there's a glider and you go choke off stuff. But that's fine. I get wanting to be faithful to this version. I feel like there's a pretty blatant opportunity for anti-gravity. When you're going down with the pinballs, because that's sloped. But I get why they didn't do that, because again, they're just trying to be a faithful version. Well, they only changed the paths wider now because it's accommodating for 12 races instead of 8, which is crazy. This is the first time the most iconic Mario Kart track, arguably, is on like a proper TV screen, which is wild. So yeah, it's great because Waluigi Pinball, we all love it. But Waluigi Pinball is like as a track, racing on it, it's solid. It's nothing great. There's no shortcuts at all. And because there's no like gimmick like anti-gravity and stuff, it's not like that exciting to race on. You look at it now. It's so good to have Waluigi Pinball, don't get me wrong. But yeah, that's just a fact of the track. I think it's above New York Minute. But yeah, I do think it's something great, and I'm surprised I managed to organise this so well. I don't think it goes in the best, and I just don't think it has enough going on. I think I'd be biased by the theming. The theming is phenomenal. Also, I won't dock points for this because I really don't care, because I think this remix is like amongst the best of the franchise, as I said before. But they do reuse the Wario Stadium remix that is in the base game. And I can't believe motherfuckers were saying they're not going to include Waluigi Pinball because Mario Kart 8 doesn't reuse music. Like, why wouldn't they? That just makes the job easier. And like sound related, but I hear this a lot still, even though Waluigi Pinball has debunked this because it's the exact same remake, they didn't change it, which is fine. It still fits the track. It's still a great, absolutely banging tune. But yeah, people have been saying it's about like DK Man and a Dying Jungle. Just have both. They're both like the most iconic Double Dash tracks. Just include both, Nintendo. Please, just do both and just have a remix for them both. Please. That's my wish. We haven't got any Double Dash tracks yet. We were going to have Waluigi Stadium. but they're holding off on that, which is fine. But we could have done with one by now. It's been 3 waves, but it's fine. We got like 4 at least waiting for us. So yeah. Next we have, well that was the Turnip Cup. Next we have the Propeller Cup, which arguably the best in the game. You got City Sprint, which is just the best Tour City track by far. It's at the top of great. Might be the best. I think it might be the best because it feels like a 3-section track. It's really good. There's so much going on. Very vibrant. All these are very vibrant. They're just colourful tracks, which I love. But yeah, there's just so much to cover here that I can't. It's just definitely the best Tour City track. It is very perfect. There's a lot of off-road potential and stuff. Lots of trekking, trickable stuff. Lots of stuff going on in general. I really like it. Again, because I'm not that fussed about the Tour City tracks, I think this isn't going. I think I'm going to leave it at the top of great. But yeah, I do really like the track. That is for true. Next we got Snowland. And this is again another perfect GBA remake. This one's more faithful, like you've still got well, Sky Golden didn't anyway, but this one has like the coloured blocks of the classic games, which is cool, and they're like frozen over and stuff. They look really nice. This might be like the best looking track in the DLC so far. Actually, no, that's not true. Wave 3 has some really nice looking tracks. But yeah, it looks very good. Like the frozen road and stuff, really nice. And there's some really cool shortcuts in this. You got one which is like kind of typical with the tracks that have like the coloured blocks, where they're just like on like a segment that's off-road and they have a gap in them you can go through. But then right after that, you can like trick off this ramp that goes on the bridge, which is where the finish line is. Really cool, and makes like the end of the race very intense. And also, iron boxes just like slowly glide down from the sky. It's really cool, and they like just slide down the road, which I love. It's so cool. And when you're going down that road, you can just yeet yourself off the side and land, and like avoiding a massive curve and stuff. And you can also trick off like the edges of like this broken ice puddle. And there's penguins. You gotta look out for the penguins. Like really good, very good track. It's definitely in great. I might like it over Skygun. I think they're kind of equal, but I will put Snowland above. Just for having like such a good shortcut, or such a good few shortcuts. So yeah, like these two, I could reach and put them in the best. Really, I don't know. I do really like them. Now the Mushroom Gorge, and it's going straight to the top. It's going straight to the top. When we're talking about perfect remakes, this is the perfect remake. What they did for this track is literally just combine what the original Wii version had with what Mario Kart 7 had. They brought back all the like Wii and like alternate routes. Like there's 3 routes in the Mushroom Cave now, because you've still got the middle one for the glider mushroom from Mario Kart 7, but you still have the 2 paths from Wii. Then they also got the original shortcut from Wii, and this has become my favourite course from time finding it so much. But yeah, that mushroom shortcut at the beginning on 200cc, you can do around mushrooms. It's so cool. But most importantly, for the shortcuts, there's the gap jump. You can do the gap jump at the end, where you just yeet yourself off the cliff edge, and it's an intentional shortcut, so it doesn't feel broken, but it is really hard to do. It's definitely one of the hardest shortcuts in the game. And I still haven't really got nailed down. Like, I think you want to jump over like the wooden fence, but you don't have to do it like that. Like, there's a lot of ways of doing it. And it's cool. It's possible on 150cc and 200cc. The former is obviously very hard, but yeah, it's possible. And I think that's really cool. Like, I couldn't ask for anything else. They just upgrade the looks, and they just combined everything in both versions. So every Mushroom Gorge fan is happy. And I am a Mushy Gorge fan. And yeah, it is my favorite track to race on. In the franchise, probably. It's certainly up there. Because I think my favorite tracks in the franchise are from the DLC we've got here. And that could be a recency bias, but I do think they play really well, most of these. Well, all of these play really well, but some of them really stand out. But to end Wave 2, we got another Tour Nitro, which this one actually released before Tour, so it's kind of quirky. This is technically an 8 Deluxe Nitro track, because it released before Tour, even though it was obviously planned for Tour, and that's the reason why it's coming to 8 Deluxe. But yeah, it's Sky Sunday, and this is a track that's like anti-gravity for the whole track, and it has this really cool effect from the anti-gravity where you fall so slowly, and there's like one bit, and it's very noticeable when you're doing like the gliders and stuff. There's also these like railings which you kind of just clip through, but it creates like the anti-gravity like spin effect, which I think is very clever. Even though it looks kind of stupid, I like it. It just plays really nice, and then you go up this massive slow bit. You can go 2 paths, and there's like a bunch of different paths below where you trick off, and because you've got that like low gravity effect, you don't need a glider. You can just keep switching between paths, and it's like under the path, above the path. There is so much. It's so good. And then that leads to the final section, which is well, you do a curve. It's actually an oval shaped track, but which you would think is quite generic. But the content of this track in that oval is so good and so varied that it doesn't matter. I don't think it's very unique for having that low gravity effect. It might be the best use of anti-gravity in the entire game. Like, I know people say it's lazy because they just slapped it on the whole track, but it does feel really unique and it really fits the track. And at the final curve, you can actually do a shortcut where you just yeet yourself off of a mushroom, and you can still land it because of the low gravity. It's so good. And the theming, ice cream theme, very cool, very colourful. It looks great. I'm putting it in great. I am. I'm going to put it in great. I'm going to put it above New York Minute. Waluigi Pinball. I don't know. I might like it more than Waluigi Pinball. We'll leave it here for now, but it's a very great track. The oldies are great, so if you see a low down here, don't worry about that. That is fine. New York Minute. I don't know. I think that might be a solid track looking at it now. I don't think it's up to the caliber of these. So just a row of tour tracks, I guess. Sure. I'll do that. So Wave 3, we had the Rock Cup. And again, there could be a recency bias to this, but I still love Wave 1 and 2, so I don't know. I don't think there will be. But London Loop. As a British person myself, I appreciate that they made the weather dog shit specifically for this track. Every other track's got really good weather, but not London. That is fucking hilarious. I love it. This is the one where each lap does completely change like what's going on. Like, if you look at the map, it is very confusing, very complicated. Racing on it for the first time was very confusing. I didn't understand what was going on at all. But once you understand what's happening, I think that's a necessary flaw with the arrow system. Like one, you can't really have that be natural, and two, they don't particularly help until you get used to it. But you get used to it quickly. Like on your second race, you'll understand it. At least I did. Yeah, it's pretty wild. There's so much going on. Again, it's another one that's got so much going on that I can't really detail it all. But yeah, it's great. It's a very solid one. This could go with solid T as well. I say it's great. I prefer it to Paris, New York, and Tokyo probably. I love the change ons. They just get off their posts and just free roam. On lap 3, which is wild. And also there's a change up in the River Thames. That's funny. That's very funny. Well done, Nintendo. That's keck. Um, yeah, it's just a goofy track. I love it. Like thematically, it's probably my favorite of the city tracks, but that is just because I'm from England. So not that I live in London. No one wants to live in London. Fuck that. Um, but yeah, it's cool. Um, so yeah, I don't know if it's great or solid. I'm not quite sure. We'll put it at the bottom of great for now. Um, but yeah, like at this point, the city tracks kind of just blend into one, even though they are different. That's just kind of again a necessary consequence of doing it like this. The next we've got Bootleg, again another great GBA remake. I think it's lower down. I think it's lower down because well like firstly this track looks great, and I was clamoring for Bootleg because I really wanted a boardwalk track for one. I wanted that to be represented, and I thought the GBA tracks were quite obscure and just a really good option, basically with how well they updated it. And also, the potential for making the track an actual lake surrounded by booze would be a really cool touch to the theming. And they did just that, which I'm so happy with. However, the track is on quite on the short side, which isn't bad. Like not necessarily bad. However, in terms of like it standalone, it's nothing crazy. This one's more in line with like a typical remake. Obviously, it looks completely different, but I don't feel like it goes as out there as the other GBA remakes. It's like Mario Circuit on that level, which is totally fine. But I just don't think it's as good as the other GBA remakes we've seen in a DLC here. So I put it like top of solid, maybe. I think that might be what I go for. But it's still good. And I do like little shortcut where you like turn and you mushroom and you go on this little like it looks like grass underwater, but it's not because you got like these cutouts of hedges and stuff. It's pretty funny. And I do like how fast you go, like 200cc time trialing it, very good because of how quick it is. But again, I feel it's too quick. I would have preferred if this track did like properly just go all out with like changing stuff, do a sky garden or a cheese hand on it. But it's still like the change is still good. It still plays well, and they did the theme justice because it is a boo lake now. So yeah, and also it does use anti-gravity, which is really cool because you go on this kind of like slope bit and then you go around and then you underwater, you're anti-gravity underwater, and also underwater section. That's cool for a boost course track. You don't understand that really at all. So it's cool. I just wanted a little more, really. I'm pretty sure like the tour version is like it's upper level in like one version, but that's not in this. Like I don't know. I think I could have been something more. Like there's something missing, and there's nothing bad with what we got. I just wanted to see them. I just think it could have gone crazy with this one, but it's good. It's good. So I won't knock on it. Next is Rock Mountain, and that's weird because like region, like a change in region is Alpine Pass for me. So it's kind of weird to see a Bruce track after that. And the question was actually, will they continue to do that? Because Tortoise used the American version of the names. So yeah, we weren't sure if it would how it would work in Bruce Pass. But yeah, it is like it does change on region. So yeah, Alpine Pass / Rock Mountain. Underrated. Most underrated track in Wave 3 by far. It's in the best. It is in the best. It's so fucking good. It is so good. It is so standout. There are so many people like down here. It'd be good because oh, what about target shocking, or oh, Deluxe's gliders aren't as fast as sevens, or whatever the fuck. But it's perfect. And also they nerfed lightning, so if you get hit with lightning, your glider stays around. Great change, and it's perfect now that Alpine Pass is coming out. And this has been my favourite track of Wave 3 to race on. There's going to be one I put at the very top, but that's just because I think it embodies Mario Kart perfectly. But yeah, this is my favourite one to race on. Like that, Shroom Ridge and Mushroom Gorge here, those are definitely like my top 3 to race on. Which is cool because it's one from each wave. So yeah, that is neat. But yeah, I think it plays perfectly. I love all the different like shortcuts that you do with like the different air pipes and stuff. And the open space, again, it's so stand out because it's so glider focused and there's such a good open space. Get a triple mushroom and you go off the glider, just land off road. And you could just use that on even 150cc and you can make it to that off-road ramp. And then just end up at like the big uphill bit, which is such a cool iconic section. And they change it here. They removed the ramps and replaced them with like the spinny anti-gravity stuff, and the track is obviously anti-gravity for this part, which is so clever. It's perfect. Another perfect remake. It looks great. I've heard people say this looks gross. I don't get it. Again, I think it's just because people don't like the grass texture. Cry about it, I guess. I don't think grass matters. But I don't know. I guess some people just haven't touched grass in a while, so they want to have like a realistic experience with it. But I don't know. I think it's great. Man, I'm just so happy we got 3DS tracks. See, Nintendo, when you don't pick Toad Circuit, the 3DS remix, bangers. Absolute bangers. Which is why I want more. I think Mario Kart 7 has the best Nitro tracks. I think it's better than Wii. I think it's better than DS. They are so underrated. So I really hope we get more. Shy Guy Bazaar for Wave 4, please. Thank you. Next is Maple Trio, which, again, quite a surprise. They shuffled things around from the day behind because Rocket Man is supposed to end the Rock Cup because it's called Rock Man and it's a Rock Cup. Yeah, makes sense. And Maple Trio was supposed to be in the Acorn Cup, which makes sense for that. Meanwhile, we were going to get Waluigi Stadium or Wario Coliseum, but probably Waluigi Stadium, let's be honest here. Because that's the one we've seen data mined, and the music for it's been data mined. But we didn't get it here. We are yet to have a Double Dash represent a track. And also that would have focused on half pipes a lot, which are introduced in this wave, which is really cool to see in return. For the first time in a mainline entry since Wii, which is in 2008. So yeah, pretty wild to have that back. And these work because they are anti-gravity ramps just on the side. They function as they still function like regular half pipes. I think they're not optimal here because you always get boxes or coins and you get a boost. So there's much more of a purpose for using them now, which is good. But yeah, they have an anti-grav texture for them. People are complaining about that as well. People find everything the Nintendo fans try not to complain challenge impossible. Like who the fuck cares if it has arrows pointing up or not? It just doesn't have arrows because it's like the circle pads because it's the anti-gravity thing. And it's anti-gravity because it makes sense that you go anti-gravity. It doesn't change how they function. That's just a neat touch that I like. So yeah, we have that, and that's in Maple Trio for 1.5 pipes. The other half pipe we see is in Merry Mountain. But yeah, this was definitely a surprise. And I think we probably should have had Waluigi Stadium, honestly. I prefer Maple Trio, but I think it was time to have a Double Dash track. And also Acorn Cup just makes sense for Maple Trio. But again, I think they want just like a very popular Wii track to ensure people love the waves. I think that's what they're doing, which totally fine. Like it doesn't matter as long as I get all the tracks at the end of the day. And Maple Trio, fantastic track. This is again another pretty perfect remake because it combines 7 and Wii stuff. Wii's in the sense that now we got half pipes back, which. That one bit of Maple Trio definitely felt a bit empty without the half pipe. So, yeah, that's sorted. I like how you can hit wigglers with the horn and they jump up now. Also, it's so cool to race on the track with the wiggler cart. That's just That's just kind of cute. Can we get Wiggler as a playable character again, though? Please, Nintendo, please. I need Wiggler. I need him. Or her. I don't know. I don't know the gender of the race of Wiggler with the gloves. I'm not sure. I don't want to assume what their gender is. Anyway, this is a great track. It's Maple Treeway. It's great. It's great. We love Maple Treeway. And I think it's gotta go like it's up here, right? Because Maple Treeway, it put at the top of great. It could be at the bottom of best, really. I'm not sure. I'm not very sure I'd put this one, but it's just a fantastic track. And then by what I meant by having the 7th version is they have the 7 glider, which is better than that. I don't fucking care. People need to stop complaining about the net. It doesn't matter. Why are people so obsessed with this net? The glider is so much better because it works much better with like what that going off that edge follows up with, because you can glide to the left or the right for like the box bits and the dimmers, or you can like trick off like the tree branch stumps, and that keeps your glider going for longer. That's much more interactive and much more logical than a net bridge for some reason. So yeah, I'm glad a net bridge ain't back. I think they could have like mixed it where you have the glider ramp and a net bridge, but I don't care. I'm glad we got the glider ramp. I don't think we should cave into what the fucking degenerate Wii fans want. The glider's better. Cry about it. I love gliders. I am a Mario Kart 7 nerd, so I love gliders. Sections are good. So yes, I do find it, because you got a barrel shot, and that's obviously a glider now too. And you go through the leaves like usual, but they have a hole in the leaves right above you, and that was because Tour, you didn't have like the going through the leaves effect, and they just didn't patch that up. So that's kind of funny. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's not like a big deal. In fact, I think it still looks fine. It doesn't look out of place because it's kind of like showing off like one of the huts inside, because they kind of got like, you got like the Wildwoods theme, I guess, similar to that, where you got like little houses inside. And you got the Wigglers. I don't think the homes are for the Wigglers. I think they're a bit too small for them. But yeah. I'm not going to complain how Maple Tree a year early, because Maple Tree is a good track and I enjoy it very much. So that's the rock cup. Next you got okay. For some reason the names are going through the thing, but yeah, we've got Moon Cup here to end this year. A pretty banging cup here. Berlin Byways. So Berlin Byways. I honestly expected to like this track a lot more. I don't think it's bad, again, because I like every track in this game, especially in this DLC. But yeah, something's off about it. I don't think the section stuff was handled very well in this. I don't know what alternatives to suggest, because I'm so confused by like the different versions on like the Tour C tracks and how they combine them. But there's just some awkward bits where you go through one bit and then it's very confusing because you have to turn to the right for some reason, even if you turn to the left, the finish line's right there. It doesn't make sense. Once you understand it, it's fine, but it's just confusing initially, and it just doesn't really. I don't get why they made the route that way. And I feel like the track could have expanded more on the more interesting like locations, because there's some really cool landmarks, particularly the Wumps. First time we see Wumps in a Mario Kart game as well, and they are like in gaps of the wall of Berlin Wall, and they just kind of like fall down, which that is so fucking funny, and you can trick off the Wumps when they fall, and that's really cool. Problem being, it's such a short section and it's just so meaningless. And also, there is an invisible wall where you would trick off the Wumps. So you need to trick off them at a very awkward angle that you're probably not going to be prepared for. So I honestly think they kind of fucked up on that one. But it's not bad again. I just think this track could have been improved. I think I need a bit more time in the oven. And there's some like quirky spots you can trick off of. There's a lot going on again, but none of it really feels like it has much substance. Like you go through a little subway in one bit, and you could go into like this train and get a door box, but all of it's so short, and it's just all kind of a blur. You've got these really good ideas, and none of it feels that effective. But they are good ideas. The track changing a lot means there's a lot going on, so it's still good. But I am gonna have to knock it down. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it might take me. I might need more time to like it better. That might be it. I'm really not sure. But yeah, and I'm gonna have to put it in solid. And that's not a bad placement again, because I still like the track. But this is the only one where I've been like, where I feel like in particular they didn't do their best with it. So that's why I'm a bit more critical of it, and it's just something I can't put my finger on. But it's still solid, and I might just need to play it more. I do like how it has the moving vehicles going around for it though. Another thing I don't get about the split routes though actually is one of the versions you have a split path in like just the one version. But you don't have that because the split path is changed between laps. So when you're on the lap where you go through this one way, you can only go to one way. I just don't get it. It's very odd. Yeah, it's solid. Next is Peach Gardens. This is a track that changed heavily. And, I was like, initially, I was like, Peach Gardens, kind of an odd pick for a DS track. Not what I would have gone for. But looking at it now, Peach Gardens is a perfect DS pick. It's like Shroom Ridge, where it fits the game, and it just blends really well with well, not blend, because it stands out from the other tracks, and not just the DLC, but in the game entirely. If we had something like Delfino Square, which people were really asking for Wave 4 because it has fruit stalls. No, we need Airship Fortress. We need fucking Airship Fortress. So, here's where the controversy comes in. There's only one DS track slot left, and there's like 3 beloved tracks from DS that aren't in the game yet. Arguably 4, because you got DS Bowser's Castle. That's kind of the 4th one. I don't think that would work in 8 Deluxe, honestly. Well, we need more Bowser Castles in general. We're going to have like 5 rainbows because they're going to add the Wii one, which I don't agree with the decision for that. When that comes out, that's probably going to load solid. Honestly, I don't care for that. But yeah, there's only one Bowser Castle, and it's pretty mid one. It's a mid one because it's 8's version of it. Which is alright, but it's nothing incredible. So yeah, I don't know. We need more Bowser Castles. But maybe that's what I should have done. I had a DS track before Rainbow Road, and then you have that beat DS Bowser Castle. I'm not sure. But I do think Peach Gardens it's still a very good pick because it does stand out. Especially for all the changes they made, it feels convenient. But it doesn't necessarily remove anything that would make the track bad. Like it doesn't take away what people once loved about a track. And before I've been impartial to the track, so I never really loved it. I grew up with it. But yeah, this remake does make it feel like something deserving of a special cup. They changed the hedge maze. It looks like all this looks great. Visual looks great. And actually, before I had a hedge major, I was saying, the roundabout at the start, they just completely blocked off going the long way because there's no point. However, you can kind of drive along this tiny little edge going inwards. And I feel like there might be a way to with using mushrooms, you could optimize that. But it's just more silly, and I don't think there's much optimization to do with that. And I don't think it's intentional. It's weird. You saw the chainsaw going around. About he just kind of hops over the defense, which is cute. But it doesn't really matter because you're not going to go the other path. But this comes to the question of I feel like I don't know why they chose to do that. Like with this remake, it's really cool, but it's not what I had in mind for doing a remake. I don't think they should have done it this way. It's not a bad way, but I think what they should have been doing was um, like changing that to give it a purpose. That's like my immediate thought for a remake of it. You give that section a purpose, or you do like you do something like, for example, one lap the change hop just fucking breaks the roundabout, so you have to go all the way around. I don't know. I think that's kind of a missed opportunity. Again, doesn't matter for this track, but yeah, that's what I would have done. And then you have like the flower bed stuff. You have the original shortcut here. There's an arrow that leads to another section which we'll get to. But yeah, you can just shout a flower shortcut, which is fine and dandy. And then you have this. The next bit, they kind of moved where the flower pounds are, which I'm fine with because it was such an awkward placement before. And even if you want to go through, you can still kind of do it because the flower beds are there. They're just more out of the way, so there's less of a need to cut through them. And then you go to the hedge maze, which is completely different, and it looks very good. And you got the chain chomps. Ironboxes don't follow the chain chomps anymore, which again doesn't really bother me. But again, it feels like something you shouldn't change because that's a very unique thing. Like you could add, especially since it's double boxes, like that would have been a great incentive. But yeah, I think the hedge maze is good regardless. And you come out and then you go to this one bit. You've no longer got these weird like hedges in the middle. You've got like a piranha plant now, which a massive piranha plant doesn't really bite though. Kind of like the Paris one, where you got this big roundabout, another one, and yeah, you get on like the grey pass in like the middle. I think that's supposed to indicate you're in the range for the piranha plant to bite you. But piranha plant doesn't turn, so I think it can only bite you in like a certain radius. So it's weird. I haven't bitten by him, so I don't think it's a useless obstacle. I just think it's odd. And then you go to this one open bit, and they kind of change the pathing of it a bit. But there's some off-road stuff to cut through. There's no longer any like ramps that the Wii version added, which people have been crying about, even though what they did was make the Monty models function like donut planes 3 ones, where they create like dirt mounds you can trick off of, which is very cool, a very clever change. And yeah, you go around and you finish lap, and then you do that another time. But on lap 3, you go around and there's a split path, which I later learned in the DS version, that is a pathway that's actually in the game. It's just blocked off by the hedges, but there was a road there that does connect to like the porch area of Peach's castle. That was a thing in the DS version. So it's so fucking cool how they use that for the final lap where you go that way, because they had the arrows and the red arrows again, even though you think they'd be blue because camera doesn't blue. It doesn't matter. You go through. There's some off-road stuff in like this new area, which is cool. But you get on the porch bit, and you're now going backwards. You're going through the track backwards, which is really cool because most notably, the hedge maze, you glide through it now, which is awesome because you can like clip through the hedges and stuff. And you can even like trick off the chain chomps. You can trick off like the fucking hedge things, like the whatever the things holding the hedges. I'm terrible scarring. And yeah, you just go back around, and it's really cool that they managed to make you go backwards on that track. Nothing, not something anyone was expecting, but it's very cool. I think that definitely does help this remake a lot. It does make it much more standout. So yeah, I'm cool with it. I think it's a pretty great track. I think it deserves to be great. I'll put it behind Shocker Mountain. But yeah, I do like it a lot. Next is Merry Mountain. Now, initially I thought Merry Mountain was very overrated. And because I think people big it up so much because of its theme, which like Christmas theme, very cool. I really like it. It looks great. But the track itself, nothing that special. You go up a hill, you go down a hill, cool. But in 8 Deluxe, it's so standout because half pipes are completely new, so it's kind of an attraction having such a massive half pipe. Then also there's a really cool shortcut, like where you can like just completely cut through that bit. It's very fun. And that section is in anti-gravity as well, entirely, which is awesome. And you go down a hill. And on the second lap and the third lap, a glider ramp just shows up. Awesome. And also you got like this sleigh that flies over you, which is awesome. And it drops coins and stuff. Awesome. It's just very awesome. Very awesome. Lots of awesomeness. Yeah, I like it a lot. Also, you've got like a shortcut bit at the start of the track with like cutting through this grass bit. I like the split path where you can just stay on the main road, or you can go on these tracks that the sleigh goes up on your way up the hill. I think that's awesome. I keep saying awesome. It's an awesome track. Awesome tier. I think it goes in great. Again, I don't think the layout's like anything particularly spectacular, and also it's not one that changes between laps. So yeah, I'd put it above London Loop. I think yeah, we'll go with that. I do like it a lot. I don't know how much I like it after Christmas. It might be a bit weird. I don't know, but it's a very nice vibe. Next is 3DS Rainbow Road. You are going right at the top. Brilliant. It's not my favorite track to race on. I think like these three I like more, but it is just the perfect Mario Kart track. It's the perfect Rainbow Road. Rainbow Road is the perfect Mario track. It's great. It is great. 3-section track. I love 3-section tracks. I'm so glad we could have this one. I have my gripes with the fact there's 4 Rainbow Roads now, and there's going to be a 5th one, which feels very unnecessary. But having the 3DS version of Rainbow Road, completely justified edition. It is so good. Like visually, they changed it so much. Like not just from the 7 version, but from the Tour version, they completely changed it. I don't think there's a single reused asset on this track. So yeah, anyone who's saying they're lazy with these remakes, get the fuck out. You're insane. Like they went all out for this track, as they should. And it's fantastic. They made the moon bit anti-gravity, which is awesome. That's like a little shortcut where you just yeet yourself off the track very early. And yeah, it's so fun. It's a very fun track. Also, you can go under the track on like this final bit where you go out the tube and you go under like all these roads, which is cool. But since we're on topic of like these different like shortcut-esque things, there's been complaints about the fact this track's kind of been butchered for its shortcut potential, which I didn't know it had shortcut potential, and I put it at the very top of my list. In the original series. So yeah, it doesn't really bother me personally, but you have these like little curb ramp things which aren't in 8, so again, I'm not here, but I think they could just have like a ramp sticking out the track like they do with SNES Rainbow Road for that one bit. There's one middle way you go over this curve, and at the end there's this one which the one at the end seems very broken. I get why that's not around. So yeah, it's very minor. And then all the other shortcut stuff is just the game being broken. It's just the game being unbalanced. So I really don't think it's a big deal. And I think the changes we have got here just make it surpass that version of the track. Also, nice remake, albeit it's like the original version was just as good, really. Absolute bop. I like the astronaut toes as well. 10 out of 10 track. And yeah, that's gonna do it. Hold on. No, I need to check. my rankings. Because I really don't know. I'm not sure on this list. I'm really not. But here it is, guys. Best tracks, great tracks, solid tracks. There's not a bad track in sight. And I'm probably going to disagree with my own list in a week's time, maybe a day's time. But yeah, I just want to talk about the Boost Course Pass Year 1 and yeah, thank you for watching this very long video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.